Hey pals, welcome to another episode of the Plot Pals podcast.
As we go into the awards season, there's one movie that's coming up number one on everyone's list, winning every single award, nominated in every category.
How could that even be possible?
Something that I haven't seen before is everyone agreeing on one movie being the best of the year in terms of acting, directing, editing, producing, picture as a whole. Is coming up number one.
And yet it's not as famous and not a lot of people know about it.
Yeah,
Like,
much more hidden. Playing in Toronto, it's playing in a single theater currently.
Alone, that's it. And that's like a very stupid little theater. Oh my god, okay. It's just like the layout is crazy, but whatever.
That's true.
Good choice.
And this movie is sneaking up to apparently win even Best Actor at the Oscars, Best Picture at the Oscars. These things are possible, are being talked about.
Yeah.
And it's surprising because it's not a conventional movie in any way. In fact, the audience of this movie is very small.
Exactly.
The number of people who can watch this and enjoy it. And yet it's doing so well.
So exclusive. And maybe that's why it's doing so good, because a lot of movies that actually got that famous, a lot of them in the past mostly, that's how they went about the marketing of it. They picked like one theater in like an area, and that's it. Like, it would be so exclusive that everybody just wants to go and see it. What is all the hype about?
Exactly.
Why are they hiding it? Is that a gem?
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. And this movie, in fact, is similar to another movie called Uncut Gems. Now that you mentioned it, I remember from a few years ago. Same vibes. If you like that movie, you're going to like this in terms of attention building up and things going wrong back to back. And you don't know how to deal with all this. And morally gray characters. So this is the kind of story that you're going in for. And let's talk about quickly what this movie is about.
Yes.
Which is an erotic dancer who gets proposed to by a millionaire Russian playboy.
Yeah.
And she will fight her hardest to keep this marriage going when this guy's parents want to break off the marriage.
Oh dear God.
She will hold on for life, because that's the money.
What a plot.
It's so good.
It's amazing. And at the same time, the expectation is so high because of all these like rewards and everything. Everybody goes in kind of suspecting what it's going to be, or like they don't know if they're gonna like it or not. They kind of are like doubtful. Maybe like they're like, oh, this is winning all the awards, I'm going to take the other stance. And
exactly, why wouldn't you?
Yeah,
everyone is saying this thing is good. Okay, well, let's see how good it really is.
Exactly. And then that's how I went in as well. And you go in, but you're surprised, oh my goodness, with all these topics that usually are taboo and people avoid talking about or avoid watching really in theaters with a lot of people.
If you catch my drift.
Exactly. But with all of these facts, it turned out so surprising, making you laugh your ass off, literally. And then you're like rolling around with everybody. Everybody's just laughing and laughing and laughing, even though there's the language barrier. Like, how often does that happen?
Half the film is in Russian, and yet you laugh.
Yeah.
And yet you're like, as Anna describes, this is the kind of laughs I haven't had in a theater in a long time. And this isn't even a comedy. Like, how is that possible?
Exactly. And the kind of jokes that are like so Asian, I feel like. And by Asian, I mean Asians are so good at comedy movies. That's my humble opinion, really. Like, the last time I remember laughing so much at movies and enjoying like TV shows and movies was like when I was watching Persian movies, or like Turkish, or like Indian,
I know exactly what you mean. This comedy of circumstances. Things are so absurd, and the way people react to it is funny.
Exactly.
The way, like, for example, people are so bothered, it's like the worst thing has happened to them, and they're like, oh my God, I'm so screwed, They're just like super stressed out. Like, that's funny.
Absolutely. That's one thing. And then also the fact that they're not filtered, they would say anything, That's also one thing advantage that Asians have, mostly. Because, like, if it's like a European Western movie, they're gonna have all these filters. And
Great point.
Yeah, although this is an American movie, but it's mostly like Russian culture, Russian ways.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point you brought up. There's no filter. They will talk about anything. These things that in America are looked down upon and you want to avoid it. Like if you even say the word, it's going to get you in trouble.
Yeah.
They scream it over and over and we laugh while they're doing that. Like they take it far. I mean, check the rating, age rating before you go into the film. Okay, it's for adults. But when you go in, you know, knowing that, you will have a great time.
Yeah, like the first scene you're gonna get hit, and then like over and over and over for like an hour. You're just like consumed with all of these things, and the kind of things that you don't see them without all these people, you know, with this amount of people in one room, respectable, cultured people that go to theaters, you know?
I know. Usually these are the kind of things you're watching in the dark, in the 1970s. You don't tell people, you know, you just sneak into the theater, you have your napkins, like, you know, that's the kind of world that you're stepping into.
Absolutely, yes, exactly. Oh my God. And your eyes are going to be open. And you might think it's going to be too much. Because I have definitely seen movies that I'm just like, that's like enough. Oh my God, why are you using this so much? But then here, oh my God, it's just like really light. Somehow it's not that much like off-putting.
Absolutely. It's because every time it's used for a good purpose. Even though, you know, profanity is all over the place. People are swearing all the time. And these images of people going at it everywhere. But there's always a good reason why it's there. Even though it's also enjoyable to watch, there's a reason. So that's why it's so strong. And this is why I'm going to tell you right away. Like, it makes sense that it's one of the best movies of the year. That's why people are so obsessed.
Yeah.
And easily, I can say it's one of the best movies made in the last decade.
God.
Easy.
God, that's a
simple.
big claim, you know? And we've watched a lot of movies, and you watched a lot of movies.
Yeah, in the last decade, you know, that's a big thing to say, because thousands of movies are made every year.
Yeah.
Even. So for you to, like, single out one film and say this is one of the best, it's hard. It's like, you gotta watch out. You can't just say it about everything.
Yeah.
I will say it easily. And I might even go as far as saying this is one of the best movies ever made, but that's where we draw the line. I don't think Anora is going to, even though it's winning all the awards this year and is blowing everyone away, it's not going to translate to becoming one of the best films of all time on that list of 100. And we'll talk about why that might be the case.
That's incredible. So let's first talk about, like, why do you think it's one of the best movies in the last decade, at least?
Okay, yeah, I'll tell you. In my opinion, there's 6 categories. If you succeed in these 6, your film will become one of the best at any time. And number 1 is story, obviously. Like, it's got to be an engaging story from front to back, that you want to watch what's going to happen. So even that, so many movies fail. It's crazy. Like, just the story itself. Not to shit on other movies too much, but we watched... I watched Nosferatu yesterday. Came out for Christmas. Story is horrible, in the dump. I don't care about these characters. And, I mean, that sucks because it was like a famous... Nosferatu is a famous story from years ago.
Exactly. And also the... actors are so famous. The costume is so beautiful, and the setting probably.
But no point unless there's a good story. You gotta care. And so Anora has this story that, like we talked about, is I'm just gonna yap and yap.
Please, go ahead. Please.
Anora's got this, like, Russian guy wants to defy his family, so he marries a hooker. Then this hooker wants to keep being married to this guy no matter what, and the parents want to break this marriage. So everybody wants a thing. And they're, like, fighting for it.
And they want it so passionately, like their life depends on it, kind of way.
Yes, exactly.
And that boy, like that Russian boy, at first, like, you think there's gonna be the love stories between these two. This is gonna happen, like, this guy is gonna come back, like, with all the drugs he consumes and all this shit that he does. He's going to come back again and be a good, probably, husband or something. And this woman is going to change, and they're going to fall in love. Although this goes against all my principles and all these beliefs that I have of lust can never be love, or, like, can be turned into that. But at some point you kind of, like, are like, maybe this is how this director views it, or, like, thinks that it is possible. Anybody could love another.
So while you're watching, you're thinking, maybe the guy will fix his life around.
Yeah.
Maybe this will work. That's the best.
That's literally how the movie shows it's going to go. And then suddenly, whoosh, it turns around. Everything changes. Everything that you believed, your whole world turns upside down as the characters also do.
Absolutely. And that's part of a good story. Is
Yeah.
You're expecting some things and then it turns around and you're just going in a whole other direction. Wondering what the
Absolutely.
fuck is going to happen.
So, fantastic story.
Easy. And then number 2 is acting. You got to believe these people.
Right.
Be along with the ride and enjoy them. And easily we can say this movie has good acting all across the
kind
board.
of acting you've never seen before, because it's so grounded, it's so real. It's like these are actual people living their lives, and there's just a camera from behind the scenes. Sometimes it's even like filming from a very shady
corner,
place,
yeah,
corner
absolutely.
from like a sofa or something. It's just filming these people's lives, and they act so naturally. God, I've never seen something like this. Never. It's like a documentary.
Absolutely.
How?
And the director says that he went about it like shooting a documentary.
Really?
He was actually filming from far away, letting them talk, just kind of giving them different beats and then letting them act it out. So that's why it comes across. You think
Yeah.
it's real life as well. And then there's like a variety. You know, there's 10 actors who are leading the movie, right?
Whoa.
And each of them is bringing some new level of reality that you think like, oh, that's my relatives. Like, I've seen this happen. And then, yeah, of course, the lead, this girl is doing such a good job. The boy, the Russian billionaire is doing a good job. Everybody kills it. There was never a moment that I was taken out of the story and been like, oh, this guy's fucking it up.
Almost everybody's so likable. Like,
That's a good
all
one.
of them. Except maybe for the mother of the boy.
Oh, yeah.
That always
Easy villain.
happens. Why does that happen all the time? Like, yeah, she's just like a villain again. Just like some Indian movies that we talked about
Yeah.
again. Ah,
Yeah, she's just straight up like manipulator mom.
yeah. And she
No character.
over-exaggerates her acting and everything. That's
That's
the
true.
only one. God, but everybody else is gonna blow your mind. Like, and she's not even in it that much.
She's in the last 10 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. So everybody else, and even like the main characters change. Like, how crazy is that? So first hour of the movie,
yeah.
you think these are the main characters. Then suddenly everything changes. A set of people come in that you didn't even know existed before, and their performance is amazing. Their chemistry is off the chart. They're funny. They're just anything comes out of their mouth or any action they do is just like hilarious. And these people become your new favorite. These people become these new 4. They're just like the killers. They're such a good group.
And they come in so naturally. And if
So
you
naturally,
notice
yeah.
also, this goes back to the story. Number 1 point is the first hour is one kind of story of falling in love with a millionaire and then like parties and going here and there. And then suddenly, bam, comes to a halt. Like the train has stopped.
Yeah.
The story is no longer moving that fast. You spent 30 minutes in real time. Like, do you understand? Real time is fucking crazy. That means like every second in the movie is a second in real life.
Yo, that's insane. You know why? Because like this whole hour, as you say, it's been all partying and everything. It's like you're on drugs, you know, over and over and over. You're having fun. These things are coming to you. And then suddenly you're hit with like this hangover.
Oh, yeah.
And that's insane. It's the next morning, and the scene takes place in the morning too. And it's just goring. It just doesn't move. It's just
fucking
like, stuck. And it's like, it's
So
like,
cool.
you know, when you're hungover and you feel dehydrated and you have a big headache and like, you can't do anything. That's how it feels.
Because it was supposed to be a quick thing that you move on. Like somebody's knocking. Okay, let's get them out of here so we can go party again.
Exactly.
And then they keep knocking and they keep knocking and they come in the house and they tie you up.
And
then
you're like,
yelling,
now, and you're like, this is gonna end now. They're gonna go back to partying again or like something else.
Anything, yeah.
And you're quite addicted actually to partying, even if like in real life you're like against it maybe or something. But here you're like, give me that. Give it to me.
Like, just kick these guys out. Wow, it's that hard. And then the guy's like, okay, we are standing by. We got to hear the next news. Some guy comes from his godfather situation, I don't know, taking care of a child. And people keep coming to this house. And you're like, move on. Like, go to the next thing. And it doesn't. So that's the part of the pacing, like something you haven't seen it before. that
Yeah.
much is like playing with the pace so much. Like the first hour is 3 weeks, then the next hour is 1 hour,
day.
yeah, and then the next hour is like 8 hours, you know.
Oh
So
my
they
god.
keep playing like stretching time and
Whoa,
so cool.
So amazing. So amazing.
So already they've managed to hit 2 of the reasons or you know criteria for making it one of the like a great film.
Yeah.
And you know it's kind of a funny thing because it's not that hard to make a good film. Like imagine just 6 things, do 6 things right, and it's
Yeah.
a good film, and it's like one of the best films. And then most other movies are horrible because they don't have these. But anyway, that was just a random. Number 3, we just talked about random good pacing.
Oh,
Great.
there it is.
So you know some things you shouldn't let them drag too much. You should like know when to start a scene and when to end it so that people don't get bored.
I see.
And this one, like, it plays with the pace so much. There is a few moments where you're like, okay, God, like, go to the next scene. For example, this one we talked about 30 minutes of, like, the movie just come to a halt.
Arguing and, like,
yelling.
just fighting and,
I know.
yeah. Whoa.
So it's borderline, like, missing this pacing almost. But the
Yeah.
thing is, we forgive it because it's doing such a big jump from weeks to now real time to then 8 hours.
Exactly.
Still, you were engaged. Would you agree?
Yeah.
For a 2 hours movie?
Of course. There was not a moment that I was, like, distracted.
Good, okay.
Yeah. The whole
So
time,
it
like,
passed.
and it's just, like, really funny that you just don't want to miss anything. So, yeah. That
absolutely.
also. So that says a lot because usually the experience is that when you go to theaters, there's a point that you get distracted, you just want to walk out.
Yes.
That doesn't happen in this movie. And I could tell it didn't happen for a lot of people in the theaters because everybody was laughing and sometimes I missed some jokes and everybody else was like present. Some people were laughing at everything that was happening.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
That's such a good experience. You know, we were complaining a few weeks ago about like going to the theater is not fun because people are loud and they're eating and
Yeah.
everything. That's the opposite. When a movie's good,
Yeah.
you want to watch it with people laughing. So enjoyable. And then do you also remember the last few scenes? The pacing is like so slow and quiet compared to the rest of the movie. And yet like the theater was dead silent. No one is checking their phone. Everyone's like, what's going to happen? Even though like everything has been resolved, you know, the marriage has ended, this girl is being kicked out, and so the movie should be over.
Yes.
And yet those 20 minutes are like so engaging for me.
So
Aren't you?
intense. Yeah. Everybody's waiting for something to happen, something they've been expecting.
Yes.
Or they expect to happen. Yeah. And it's like, it also shows like the real pacing. Like after all this time that she's been on drugs and like smoking and on in another dimension, escaping real life. Now she's stuck in real life. Stuck in the actual like every second that she has to like see her pain, experience the pain instead of like just escaping it by like sex or like by this kind of thing.
Absolutely.
So here we see that. It's just like so beautiful. It's sobering. It's like in the moment. So beautiful.
So they passed 3 of the tests already to become one of the greatest. Number 4, in my opinion, is the sights and the sounds, the things that you see, the world that they've built, the clothes they're wearing, you know, how people talk to each other, how the train sounds. And easily, like we can say they passed this one. Most movies pass this test. Of like the world looks believable to me, you know, it's realistic.
Yeah.
And the problem is a lot of movies think this is the most important thing. Like make it cost $1 billion. Make every single train a real train. I don't know. Make people dress the way they used to dress. Make the lighting so nice. Like they think that making it look good is the reason why a movie is good. Nosferatu, I'm looking at you. What the fuck?
Wow. Oh my god. But at the same time, this one, even though you say it's easy, this one really nailed it, like with the costume and everything. Like the things in her hair.
Oh yeah.
I want that. Although that is like so out of style. Like that's so early 2000s and I'm so like against it. When I see it in Dollarama, I'm like, what?
So
That's
cheap.
So cheap. But then seeing it on her, I'm like, I want those extensions. I want my hair to be sparkly like that. And like
Exactly.
everything is just like so signature. Her eyeliner, that is like that. Oh, so good. And her nails, butterfly nails.
Oh my god. Like, they make you want to be a part of that world.
Yeah.
They never make her look cheap. She's like the
Exactly.
most enjoying everything that she has.
Right.
Even her bikinis, everything. Like, normally you'd be like, holy why are they making this girl wear such a small bikini on screen?
They always,
You know?
do something like that to hookers. But this girl does not look cheap at all.
Yeah, and she loves it. Clearly, she's like, this is my body. I use it how I want. So cool.
So bougie, yeah. She's even better than all the other girls that are there. I
Oh,
feel like.
easily.
So beautiful. But the thing is, like, there are a lot of hooker movies like this that they fall in love, for example, with the guy that hired them. I don't know.
Yeah.
And they always look really, really bad.
They look kind of dirty, and like just clothes are coming from everywhere, you know. this kind of
Yeah, exactly. And it's usually so unrealistic. Like, this movie is so realistic to life because that's what I said. Like, there's no way these two people could fall in love, especially after marrying like that on a haste just because they were high or something. Like, there's just no way that's gonna end well. They have to have like a punishment or something. Not in a malicious way, but that's just how life works. Like, if you rush like that into things,
Yeah.
if you're just like making decisions based on just like these kind of emotions, like lust and these kind of things, it's gotta end badly. Like, that's just how it is. And thank God they did not make a fairy tale out of this. They just showed how real life is. The whole movie is just like how life would play out. If you like play these games, that's gonna be your ending. There's just like no beauty in it. But at the same time, when you see the last scene, you realize there is still beauty.
There's
in
so
life.
much beauty in life. Yeah, I
In
love that you
pain,
said
yeah.
that. Yeah, exactly.
Instead of like escaping that pain, just fucking be in the moment and like just experience it. Just take it.
That's such a good one, because this is such a fantasy movie at the
Yeah.
beginning. It's like girl who's hard worker, like
Exactly.
gets what she deserves, a millionaire, like a Cinderella story.
That's so true.
You enjoy it, but then you come back to real life.
She feels that also as well. She's like to all the other girls when she's going out.
Oh yeah,
I married my billionaire husband or something.
I'm just gonna go chill in my mansion or whatever.
Yeah, it's so good. And you're like, that's not gonna end good for you. Oh my God, why are you saying this to these girls?
So cool.
That just shows. And then there's this one scene, I think it's the long 30-minute scene that we get hit with. In that, the guy Taurus, he says, he is one of these guys, new characters that comes in. He comes in and says that, no, this is not a real marriage. This is not a fantasy. Like, be in the moment. And she keeps denying and denying and denying, saying, no, I am married. I have a real license. And with the Brooklyn accent, it's just, so good. It is a real marriage. Like, I have the license and everything. Like, it's there. And then this guy just keeps saying, no, come to life. Like, this is
so beautiful.
yeah, this is not true. Like, why are you so illusioned like this? So delusional.
Yeah, and even he goes as far as to say, like, you are not in love. This is not love. He doesn't love you. I know him. Like, he's just like saying these things
That's
out loud.
so good, isn't it? Amazing. Wow.
So cool.
Like, he hits her with reality, like with a cold bucket of water or something. It's just like that. Oh my God.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's really cool. I mean, the more we talk about it, I think the more we like the movie.
Yeah.
But we'll also get to the point of like talking about why it won't be one of the greats, definitely. But right now, 4 qualities, it's killed it. And then number 5, this is so important, is you being able to rewatch the movie and still enjoy it.
Oh yeah.
So it passed this test for me because this was my second time watching with you.
Right.
And still I was laughing so much and the story was still engaging.
Yeah.
So I give it a pass. But I would say rewatchability, you have to be able to watch it 4 times.
Oh.
Back to back, like so quick.
Whoa.
Or else it's not one of the greats. So imagine one time you just regularly watch and enjoy. Second time you show it to someone probably. And you now fully understand the story.
I see.
That's how it should be. Then the third time you watch because you loved it and now you want to catch the details. So you watch and you catch every single detail. And then the fourth time, you know the story like front to back now. You've seen it 3 times. You watch it because you like it.
Yeah, that's
And if it passes that test, it's like one of the greats, absolutely.
I think that passes that for me too, even though I haven't watched it again because we watched it last night. But first of all, I would have watched it another time if they played it just like after that again. And second, when I'm like talking about it, I'm still enjoying it. I want to watch it. So I feel like I'm reliving the scenes. So
Absolutely.
I guess that
So
also passes me.
We give it a pass now. We've not seen it 4 times yet. So that might be one of the things that leads into it's not one of the greatest of all time.
Yeah.
But pretty good for 2 watches.
I guess.
And then lastly, easily it passes this one, is humor. It's got to have humor.
Ooh, yes.
Simple.
Oh my god, I passed that. It's so good.
Bro, I have not laughed so much in anything. I don't even remember a comedy show making me laugh this much.
Exactly.
Fucking
And it's just like, wow. How?
Crazy.
How is that even possible? Like, these characters have such great chemistry. So there's this one character, Taurus. He's like the leader of them.
Yes.
And these people are hired by the family of the billionaire guy. And this guy is just like, first of all, he's an Armenian. He has this like look that is like so also Persian or something.
Yeah.
That's why probably I kind of like really laughed at this guy so much, because he's just like your dad.
Yeah, he's an innocent guy he's a family guy trying to do his
Exactly.
job here.
He's just like, he wants to be a godfather too. He was going to be. But this like interrupted it. So he's just like, exactly, he has the characteristics of your dad, and he looks like your dad.
Yeah.
So you're like, wow, that's like so cool. And he's like, he gets mad, he does crazy stuff.
Yes, at the same time, he's so rational too. We already talked about.
Yeah, exactly.
He wants things done the right way, the moral way. He apologizes when the time is right, And he's like, "Why are you holding her like that? Like, put her down. Why have you knocked her?" Like, so it's like he is just so in the moment and like has his moral values. And he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna get fired. Like, I need to do things right. It's not my fault. Tell him you did this." So he's like such a real guy. I love it.
And you know what makes him more of a dad? It's like the fact that he's complaining about the generation.
Such a funny scene.
Your generation is lazy, sleazy. You guys don't do anything. You don't like to work. I was working since I was 16. You got it all.
Such a
in
funny
this guy.
scene. This guy is like, yeah, what is wrong with your generation? You only want to get a cool sneaker. You have Instagram, TikTok. Like, that has nothing to do with the movie. But the fact that they put that scene in.
Anything he does
cool.
is just so good. He's like, his car is just getting towed away or something. I don't know. And then he goes in the car. First of all, he argues with the man. That is
You
taking
want money?
the car.
Yeah.
Trying
No,
to
bro, you don't
bribe,
want money?
whatever.
Okay, then it's your fault. Gets in the car. Starts jamming.
So crazy! Oh my god, the smoke that was coming out of that car. That's
Oh
so
Lord!
good.
And then somebody throws up in his car. One of his friends.
Oh my god!
Cleaning it like, do you not know? I need to give this car to my wife tomorrow. He says that, and I'm like, wow, the world of the movie expanded so much. Like, there's a wife, and they share a car. That's so beautiful.
Yeah, and everybody else in the car is just like, whoa. They're all covering their nose. It's the funniest shit ever. This guy that threw up, his name is Garnick. He's like a millennial, I feel like. The two other guys are millennial. And that makes it so funny because, again, to real life, going back to that, like my dad's interaction, maybe with like some millennial uncles of mine or something. It's just so funny. That's exactly how they do it. It's just so relatable. And then, this guy, Garnick, he's like the buff guy. He's the bodyguard of the group or something.
Garnick, yeah, I've wondered. Because bodyguard is technically the other guy, Igor. He's literally hired to probably beat some people up.
But he's so sensitive. He's just like so quiet, awkward, sensitive, awkward as hell. So his humorous parts are when he's, oh my god, it's just like, even talking about it, I just want to roll around laughing. It's just like a lot of times, there are like a million times the camera is on the woman, on Anora, Annie, and him. And he's just like, he wants to talk to her or like break out of this like ice and everything. And it's so awkward. He just says, hello.
Everything will be all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to tell you that. That's all he says.
And you've been there. You've been in that that situation. I know you've been. I have, at least. And it's like the most awkward, shivering,
awesome.
cringiest moment.
The thing is, though, the girl is also kind of scared of him because he is the guy who like is hired to break things and scare people.
Uh-huh.
You know, that heavy hand
Yeah.
who's gonna punch people. So you don't expect him to be like trying to make conversation, like trying to connect with this girl.
Yeah.
And so it makes for this like situations that are so real, and you're like, who do I side for here? I love this guy. I want the girl to stay alive. Like, I don't know what to do.
Right.
Awesome.
You know, there are just so many things about this guy that's lovable. But a lot of times it's like his like, expression and his like sensitivity and all that.
Oh, I know.
But there's one scene, he's just like hugging the girl almost, like holding the girl, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's like the girl is just crazy going like that. His face is like dead. Poker face.
He's the most zen guy. I'm sure he meditates like 5 hours a day. He's just sitting there, gets punched, you know, he's calm, he's quiet. I want to go hang out with him. Like,
I know.
Learn from his ways. He looks like a monk.
He is the exact opposite of this girl who's all about like dopamine hit.
Yeah.
Dopamine. This guy is just like,
so cool. Yeah, and then the way they dressed him is very different than his character. He just looks like a thug, you know, with the sweater on and the sneakers. But just the kindest man I ever saw. So cute.
oh, it's just the best. And you know, there is this thing, because you thought to this point that really Anora is gonna end up with the billionaire guy somehow.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's the only way. And even Igor is not as present or like as, I don't know, like dominating in the scene as maybe Garnick is or Toros is. So he's not going to be a significant character.
Yeah, right.
When you first see him. But goddamn, he just takes over everything to a point that the last scenes is just like him and Anora.
That's so amazing. I haven't seen something like that. He's a reactor at the beginning. He's only there so that we have somebody calm to like connect to and see the world through. Mm-hmm. And then more and more we're in his world of like he's seeing how this hooker gets treated.
Yeah.
And like now it's about his reaction. How does he feel when she gets betrayed like this? And is he gonna step up? Is he gonna say something? And then he does say something. This heavy guy, this like hired hand, he's like gets up to this billionaire and is like, I think you should apologize to Anora.
Wow.
I think you should apologize to the hooker. At that point I was like, oh my god, marry him, marry her. Yeah, get that ring out. Like, give him a ring. This is the man for you. He's such a nice guy.
Exactly. This guy was just like amazing. You see it throughout how he gets to protect her so much.
Yeah, wow.
It's amazing. It's exactly what she needed. Because all her life, all men have looked at her as an object. They all objectified her. And so she's used to that. She's like, I'm nothing more than an object in men's eyes, even though she's more intelligent than any man she hangs out with. She knows it internally that she's intelligent, but she's like, if I am in a room with a man,
that's all he wants. He just wants my body.
That's all he wants. That's my only role as well. Like, I'm not this woman that is like intelligent on my own, can do whatever I want, independent. I'm not that. That role is out the window. Now I'm the slave of this guy or something like this.
Yeah, or the only power I have is to play with the sexuality.
Exactly. And this is the other point I was going to get at. The only time she feels powerful is when she dominates a man through sex. That's the only way. She doesn't feel power anywhere else outside of that.
Oh, yeah. And that's so beautiful to kind of like focus on in the background.
Yes.
You know, that's not the movie has a point to make, which is hookers are treated badly and they don't have any power. No, it's like about this girl who's getting the marriage proposal, and then in the background you kind of see how people treat her, what space she has in society, like so quietly in the background.
That's so true.
That's because this director has made like 25 movies about this topic by this point.
Holy fuck!
So he's like so good at just focusing on
what kind of obsession is that? Why?
Seriously.
Why is he like this?
I mean, that's really good because not too many people focus on that topic. So like he's found his niche. He's like, let me just focus on their life.
I mean, that's great. He shows it very well. He shows it realistically. The only thing is that there are, like this movie, for example, again, I'm going back to Pretty Woman. Like, they totally fantasized this whole life of being a hooker, how it could play out once you see, like, a billionaire person.
Yeah, right.
And everything is going to be all good. Like, his world is going to accept you. He is going to accept you as a wife.
Great point.
No, that's never going to happen. No. Listen, men want a wife. So once they walk into a social occasion, they can hold their head high, say, this is the woman I have, and that's it. Like, this is a status value for me, okay? I'm not talking about all men, but, like, mostly, like, rich men at least.
Yeah.
So they're not going to get a scandal as a wife
to
show to their friends and to their business associates.
Absolutely. And more you're making me realize Pretty Woman is unrealistic as hell. It's just fantasy. Ignore that movie. Only watch Anora.
Exactly.
Throw that in the can.
I know. What's up with that? It's just because of Julia Roberts that it got famous.
Insane. Yeah. What you gotta have like some truth in a movie you watch.
Exactly.
This millionaire in New York, Los Angeles millionaire is gonna come fall in love. Anyway, let's not complain about that one.
No. That does not happen. So now here, this is the only man, Igor, is the only man that does not see her like that. He actually cares for her. He actually listens to whatever happens without any expectation of what he could get as a reward. And that is exactly what women want.
The problem with Igor is he's a complete loser compared to this millionaire boy.
Yeah.
Right? Think about it. This Annie, she has so much power over any guy. So like millionaires usually, these business guys who come, and in her dreams, I'm sure she's thinking like, one day I'm going to find my man who's like 20 years older than me. He's rich. He wants to have me. So that's his dream, her dream. And then to be hit with the reality of maybe the guy who's best for me is this like random worker for the billionaire actually, who has no status, who's bald, who lives in his grandma's house, who drives his grandma's car. No one respects him. No one even knows his name. His name is Igor. Like, that's the guy who's best for me? What the hell? Like, I can do better. I was just hanging out with a millionaire. I had the 4-carat ring on my finger. I am never going to fall for this guy, even though he is the best for her.
Yeah, exactly. And that's also another point to the director, because that's also reality. Like, real life is like that. You don't expect it. Your pride is going to get hurt with the person that you like or your love. You know, usually if you truly love someone, it's going to hurt your pride. It's not going to be the person that is like in your dreams that everybody loves as well. God!
Great job, Sean Baker.
Man,
such a good one.
So good.
That kind of leads me to the point of like her having power only through sex. This is why I think it's okay that they use sex so much, because every time there's a point. There's one of 4 points usually when there's a sex scene. Number 1 is to have an act of power. So she is now able to control a guy's thoughts and able to like tell him what to do.
Yeah.
If there's a sex scene, that's what's happening usually. Number 2 is showing that she's submissive to this guy, to like show, I do like you, for example, and I'll do what you say.
Yeah.
So that again is a story purpose. You know, it's not just to show a sex scene. It's to show that I'm gonna listen to you. Again, a power role, but opposite. Another reason is when there's a real connection being made. Usually they have a sex scene. And like, you know, instead of having 2 people laugh and like share a connection like that, they straight up show that scene. And through that we get this. Through this like physical act, which is actually smart. And then number 4 is to show her working. Like, my objective is to just like make money and do the work.
Exactly. So imagine like if the job was something else. Maybe she was like a corporate, like in an office working like that, and masking her feelings through this overworking. Because she has crazy work ethic, and you said it too.
Yeah, solely.
So that's a way, almost like sex is a mask, definitely. And it's like a way for her to suppress her emotions and not go to that pain, not be reminded of the pain. So she works overtime, even though she gets like 10,000 a week.
What is this girl doing? Is New York that expensive? She's working all of the time, one client after the next. She's killing, here and there, $100 bills in her pants. And then she's like, oh, I gotta go work again. Stay home, get yourself ice cream, buy something, buy a handbag, go out with your friends.
Oh,
like, girl,
my God.
If I was working this hard,
But
I
the
would be
thing
moving out of my
is,
parents' house.
she's not gonna, she doesn't have any friends probably. She doesn't have, there's like no true feelings. Nothing is going on. To be not reminded of the fact that she doesn't have true friends, true love, a
Exactly.
meaning in life, and that she's like she's selling herself basically.
Yeah.
Which is like, oh yeah, I know. At one point, I even thought that selling yourself is something that happens every day. Everybody sells themselves. But I also now understand that everything in the world wants to buy us. Everything. Everything and everyone. Everyone wants to buy our attention, something from us. They just want to take us, We are valuable. And I'm talking about all humans here. And everyone is going to buy something from us or us in general. And our job is just to keep ourselves intact. Just like a seed that has all these jewelry, all these pearls, all these hidden gems, all of them. And nobody knows. And it doesn't brag about it. It doesn't show it. It's just there without anybody knowing. Now, that's your job, to keep them intact, to not show it, to not sell yourself. There's only one person you have to sell yourself to. That is yourself. That is God. And that's it.
Very interesting.
So, to sell yourself literally, that's the worst. You're going to feel empty as hell. And even though they make the world so glamorous, and at times when you're watching it, you're like, oh my God, I might be happy. If I were in that world. Like, truly, wasn't there a point? For sure, for me, there was. Like, I'm like, wow.
Every day, a new coat, new drinks, new parties.
Exactly.
Hotel.
What could go wrong? Like, you're just living your life, and it's like every day. So if it's every day, you're not even going to be hit with anything, a reality. So you're like, yeah, what could go wrong, actually? That would be really fun. These people really do have fun. Why do I have these, like, moral things in my head and live by them and at the same time don't enjoy my life? I could do that. But then you realize that, oh no, all of these are bound to go down. They are all bound to, like, finally crash. This bubble cannot be held that long. So, yeah.
Damn. So most people believe that you need to sell yourself. All businesses believe this. All people who are like trying to sell books usually like sell yourself. Learn how to talk to people better and like, engage. But now this idea that you have is actually the opposite, which is try to maintain yourself instead of selling it, like protect it.
Yeah, don't sell yourself to the world, because it's just the thing it is, like, you're so invaluable. Like, you're so valuable, you have no idea. This whole world is trying to catch you. You have like that thing, you have that alchemy. You have that. You have the power. That's thing.
And everybody has that. And you know what? This is such a good way to say it, because when somebody, let's say in Hollywood, starts to listen to others and do what they say, or like start doing things for money, they call him a sellout. So he sold himself.
Oh yeah, they do say that.
So that kind of shows, like, don't be selling yourself to get there. Actually protect these things that you have and go into the world. You don't need to like be trying to please these people.
Right. And at that point, everybody else wants to come to you to see what do you have that like you don't want to sell and stuff. Like, could I have that? Could I be like you?
And don't you agree that Igor is absolutely living like this? Like, he will never sell himself.
Exactly. Even though you think that, his job is to basically, like, sell his...
Listen
to others, like, put his time in, like, instead of, like, compensated for money and stuff. But at the same time, he's his own person.
Yeah.
He would talk to the master that hired him and say, like, apologize to this hooker. That's like not something at least any casual average worker would do. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that to my boss.
Oh yeah, of course.
So,
great job, man. This is like the moral lessons of the movie that are not in your face, but they're all there.
Exactly.
So the best. Oh, we love it. And okay, can I say one thing is every single romantic scene between this girl and the millionaire boy fulfills the 4 things that we talked about at the same time. So she has power over him. At the same time, she's submitting because he's paying her. At the same time, they're forming a connection. And at the same time, it's her job.
Yeah.
So like 4 different ideas are being like taken care of with one sex scene. Yeah. That's why it makes sense to me. Like, no wonder why they're using it, this physical thing, to get the story forward. It's actually so strong.
But don't you think they could have used less of them? Like,
yeah,
we got the idea.
That's definitely.
You know, because not all of them had this meaning. It's just like in general.
They did, but yeah, exactly. Like sometimes it would repeat. Like, why do we need to see it twice?
Exactly.
If we already know this. That's one of the main reasons it won't become one of the best movies ever, actually.
So let's get into that.
Let's get into the first point, which is using sex and drugs to move the story forward.
Right.
So it is moving the story forward. We have no doubt about it. Even when people smoke, you know, it shows that they're losing consciousness and they're falling for these vices and everything. Like, there's a reason. Yeah. And even, for example, in that last scene, they're sharing a cigarette, whatever it is. Like, that moves the story forward. They're having a connection now. Yeah. He's lighting too. That means he's going to protect her. Like, everything has a double meaning. Yeah. That's why, like, we almost forgive it. But it's cheap. I think it's cheap. I learned this actually in film school, so feel free to take this advice. If an actor is not doing a good job, hand them a cigarette. Just them holding that cigarette and breathing in and out will make them more natural.
You're kidding.
I'm not kidding.
That's crazy.
Or like hand them a drink, anything. So give them something to do. Yeah. So that's why you see so many cigarettes in movies. They're just like, fucking smoke a cigarette and then it will be a good scene. It's everywhere. Especially Hollywood, but everywhere, absolutely.
It is everywhere, that's true. And even when people try to deny the fact that, cigarettes are cool, they are actually cool. Like, let's face it. They're cool, right?
Only
like,
because we've seen it so many times.
Exactly. Exactly. So the thing is, like, when they do that, immediately, first of all, people, when they hold a cigarette, they feel powerful.
Yep.
They do that. Yeah. They feel cool. They feel powerful. And that also affects probably their acting as well.
Yeah, fuck it. So it's a cheating mechanism, actually. Yeah, the movie will be better when this is a thing in it. Yeah. But that doesn't mean that that's the only way to tell the story. Exactly. So they rely so much on cigarettes, having drinks, that pen tells the story. Yeah. And then on top of that, like, so many sex scenes. These things limit the story and, like, it's just so specific. Yeah. It's this is a sex and drug movie. Yeah. It's not transcending the genre.
Exactly. But at the same time, because it is about this woman and, like, her world, they couldn't sober dog it. Like,
that's true.
It couldn't be just, like, sober like that. Although that probably would have been still a beautiful movie, especially in the last scenes. Like, what was the point of her still,
Yeah, totally. That's what I'm telling you. Like, the only point was to try and tell
show the connection. Yeah.
And, like, they couldn't have sober dogged it, but they could have hidden it in some ways. Like, they were able to have the coke be in the background. Yeah. Like, they go to the other room to take that coke. You know, no need to show it right here. They're just using so much of this to tell the story.
Exactly.
So not good.
So, but there is this other movie, you know, Wolf of Wall Street, that got very, very famous because, despite having all of these, or because of it, who knows? All of these, like, first of all, the woman also, it's actually very similar.
Super
similar. The woman is also from Brooklyn, the mistress. And this guy is all about drugs, sex, and everything, like, all over the place. It's actually so extravagant, much more than this one. So why did that get that much recognition?
You know what? The same thing. That had a really good director.
Yes.
And the plot was good. It's like this millionaire, he's going to take from the world as much as he can. Or this, like, business guy.
And it was a biography. Jordan Belfort.
It was a true story. Yeah. And, like, is he going to lose his integrity during this process of going there? So it's a strong story. I think the sex hurts it. Like, it's sold at the beginning so much. Like, people are like, okay, we want to see this girl, Barbie, naked right now. But during, like, over the years, people don't look at it as like this is one of the.
Yes.
They look at it as a dirty movie.
Exactly. Right. Like I watched it once and then I was like, that's it. Even though I know it's a really good story.
Yeah, right.
Like this is a biography. I know this guy like wrote this book about his life. It's so truthful. It's crazy. Like nobody would write about their life this much, like about all the shit they did. And he does it, and the director is really great. The actors, oh my god, Leonardo DiCaprio, like wow, you gotta watch all of his work.
Yeah,
and it's funny, but
yeah, right.
It's crazy funny.
So you're absolutely right. It is so similar to this, and it has like the same pitfall.
Yeah,
just the too much sex.
If it wasn't there,
drugs.
Oh my god. I would have watched it
would
every
have become
holiday
one of
with
the
family.
greats. Yeah, absolutely. So that's a big one. Make sure, you know what it is though, this director, Sean Baker, clearly has a way of telling stories that is so unique. So it goes to show, like, now he made this movie. Hopefully next time he picks a different topic. And then we see how he handles that. And I'm sure he's going to make one of the greatest movies of all time. One of these days.
Yeah.
Would you agree? Like
the way he's going, I know. Yeah,
absolutely.
No, he understands everything. He hit every point.
Yeah.
If only that wasn't the case, because like it limits the people that could first of all watch it.
Totally.
That's one thing. And then a lot of people don't want to watch it with their families. Again,
I know.
That's another problem.
I would be recommending this to everyone if it wasn't for the first 20
Actually,
seconds.
That would be a great prank, though. Watch it, guys, with your grandma and with your parents. And yeah.
You couldn't pay me to do this. Oh, my God. No.
No. I would get meat. I would be, like, slaughtered. Yeah. Oh,
exactly.
God.
Oh.
No. It's like from the first scene, I'm telling you. From the first scene, it's just going for 1 hour straight. Like, if you're ready for that, go in.
Absolutely. And you know what? That brings me to one other thing that won't make it one of the greats. It's almost repetitive, some points.
Oh, yes. The first hour. For sure.
The first hour is very repetitive. Like, party sex. Go back here and there.
And it's so happy all the time. Like, it's just like a happy ending. You're like, oh, there's just no flaws. Like, first of all, even though the characters have flaws, but their world and their bubble is so beautiful and everything goes well that you're like, no, nothing can go wrong here.
Yeah.
It's just a happy ending, happy. And that's, first of all, that's not a good story. Like, if you think about it, if the movie went that way.
Yeah, right. Absolutely.
Like, no challenges, no conflict, nothing. The first scene, the girl sees that guy, and the guy is young, first of all. It's not an old man, billionaire. So, beautiful, handsome guy, and funny. And she likes him. And he likes her. Like, immediately into the movie.
Absolutely.
And then just, like, parties, and here, let's go there, funny. Let's do that, and this. He buys her everything. And you're like, wow, where is the conflict in this? It's all going good. So, yeah, this is the way it's going, all happy.
There you go. Like, they could have cut 10 minutes here and there from the beginning, and that would have moved it along much faster. They could have, same way, cut 10 minutes from this, like, over and over, waiting for this call to come in. And like, that 30-minute scene, we praised it so much, but it could have been just a bit shorter. Like, you can always cut more. Just keep the essential. There was so much yelling going on. Everything could have been cut just a bit.
There was one point in it that was like, okay, enough. Enough.
What the hell? And the same thing with them searching for him, So, oh my God, how many restaurants are you going to go to? There's no way you're going to find them,
Yeah.
Here and there. And so, overall, it's a little repetitive, and that's the difference between a great movie and the greatest movie of all time,
Yes. You gotta use all your scenes that you have. Every scene gotta have a purpose.
Yeah.
And here we did
Don't
not
repeat it,
see that much. And it also goes to show, again, to that point of this being a documentary, kind of like, it's gonna be boring. Like, life is repetitive. Life is boring at times, and you gotta just take it.
That's a good point.
Maybe that's the way they were going with it.
It's so cool to see. I mean, you hear it in our words. We love the movie. We enjoyed so much of it.
Exactly.
Just talking about why it won't be one of the greats of all time. The GOAT.
Yeah, exactly.
At the same time, can we talk about the final scene? This final scene has so many meanings that I'm excited to dive into.
Oh my god.
So we'll give a quick summary of that scene. Spoiler. So she's lost the marriage, and now she's told you have 1 day at the house and then you have to drive away. You'll get paid and then leave. So she's in the car with this gopnik. If you find out what that means, tell us. With this like heavy guy, the bald man. And she's like, okay, pay me. Let's go. At the front of her house, he takes the suitcases up, and now just before she leaves, she looks at him one last time to see if he's gonna do anything. And what he does is give her the ring.
Oh wait. He gives the ring to her and then goes and puts the suitcase.
Oh
up.
yeah.
So she has time to process it. Okay.
Great one. Yeah. So as she's being dropped off at her house to leave, go back to her normal life, he hands her a ring. And while she's thinking about it, he comes back.
Yeah.
And now...
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, he comes back, and then she just looks at him. Just, like, so deep, like she never looked at anybody before. So raw, so, like, natural. And I wonder...
Objectively. We can say objectively.
Kind of objectively, but at the same time, like, it's like, I've never seen a man like this before, kind of.
Yeah.
Like, you're a man.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe she's thinking that. And then,
She says something about, like...
it's like she doesn't want to leave. So she keeps talking, like, your car is, like, it reminds me of you.
Yeah.
And he says, well, do you like it? And she says, no. But before leaving, she turns over to him, takes off her pants, and wants to go at it with him, and it leads him into like pulling the chair back and them going at it. And as they do, he grabs to kiss her. She loses her mind, starts beating him up, and then as he hugs her, she lays there and starts crying
on his chest.
So objectively, that's what happens. And there's just so much going on, so many emotions.
And she cries, and then he
cuts
comforts her.
So now tell us, what you thought?
Oh,
How
okay. So,
did you feel?
first of all, I think that this is the thing we talked about yesterday about it as well. Is that what they say in movies usually is that hookers, they have this one rule, and they say we never kiss the client. And why is that? Is because kissing is personal and it makes you catch feelings, and it's more like it shows you the real you. So they, as a rule, they never do that. At least that's what they say in movies usually.
At least Pretty Woman said that.
At least Pretty Woman said that. Or I've seen a few movies saying that as well. So kissing is like the boundary.
Oh, yeah.
Like there. And so I thought her kind of like not wanting to kiss the guy and like being this like defending herself like that is because she does not want to be revealed to the guy. She does not want that connection. She does not want to show her real self to him. And that's also like a defense mechanism in general. Because, first of all, before going at it with the guy, she's like, she is in danger of catching feelings.
Absolutely.
She realizes that. And as a defense mechanism, she goes and wants to do it with the guy because that's the only thing that she knows to do in this situation with a man and a woman.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the only thing she knows. So she wants to go to her old ways. She wants to go to the old pattern. She wants to also at the same time tell the guy or show the guy that I'm a worthless hooker.
Oh.
Don't forget that. I'm not worth it. I'm not worth the love or this attention.
Interesting.
So that's also very relatable as well because she sabotages herself. And then
exactly, yes, totally. She sabotages.
And once you feel love, really, like acceptance. You can't say that was just like love, really. They didn't know.
It's just 1 day they've known each other.
Exactly. But acceptance of someone with all their flaws. Because this guy saw every flaw this girl had.
Good
soberly.
Point.
Yeah. And to accept her despite of all this, that makes you break down. I don't know if that has happened in your life. I'm sure it has. But once you feel like accepted, maybe twice or like 3 times in your life, you break down. You cry your eyes out. It's insane. Even if you think you're really tough, you're not gonna cry like that.
Good one.
That happens. So I think this is what's going on.
Isn't that so layered and deep
Yeah.
for an ending of a movie? Like, so many things are going on.
Exactly.
And all through a sex scene, like, I can't believe it. It's actually the best use of a sex scene probably ever.
I know. That actually has
you
never
kidding?
happened. I don't remember a sex scene this like impactful.
Yeah. And you also said it really well. I observe the same things. I would add probably a few things to it, but that's exactly how I think.
Oh.
Like, so one layer of it, like you mentioned, is man and woman. Like, how do
Yeah.
they go about a transaction? And usually a woman feels thankful when a guy doesn't objectify her and doesn't rape her probably and doesn't like look at her like that, you know? So for this girl, throughout the story, every guy has looked at her as an object to take from, to buy, to use, to look down the shirt of.
Yeah.
And here's a guy who was like protecting her. So as a woman, she feels this duty, like, I need to thank him in some way. And the way that she knows is I should probably thank him by giving him sex. That's so bad, and it's so true. Oh my God. Like, you see a guy, this has happened in my life as well.
Yeah.
Like, you just experience this. Like, if once a guy is nice to you, you feel like you owe them something. Just if they're nice regularly.
Yeah, that's so true. What's up with that? Oh my God. And even if, like, my first thought is never to have sex with them. That's one thing. But it is to, like, I feel obligated. I feel uneasy. The whole day, like, even if I'm not with them. I just, like, oh my God. I don't know what to do. Like, I don't want to talk to them anymore. I don't like them. Like, like that. But what am I gonna, like, say? This guy did so much.
I know, right? Yeah, and it's like a thank you apparently is not enough. Now, I mean, maybe it's enough for them, but as a woman, you just have the sense of, like, since he was so nice to me, I need to do something. Do I need to cook him a meal? Do I need to hold his hand? Like, I need to say thank you to this guy who didn't rape me. Like, it's crazy. It's crazy, but it's true.
By the way, would never think that. If a woman is nice to them. Never.
Because it's just accepted. It's the normal thing for a woman to be nice.
Yeah, exactly.
But in a man's world, like with what she's experienced, every guy has been, like, fucking guys have come in and been like, you look like my daughter. Okay, dance for me. You know? Like, that's the world she's in. And now finally, like, this one guy who's so nice. So she's like, oh, how do I thank him? Okay, the one way I know is to give him what he wants. Like, I know he likes me. Might as well. So that's one layer. And then another layer is that her world, the fantasy world, is over. She's no longer married to this Russian guy. Now she has to go back to her hooker life. Like, now she's going home. Tonight she's going to go to work. Yeah. So she's like, okay, what better way for me to get back in than doing it with this guy who, like, at least was nice to me?
Yes.
Let me just get back to my old world. So she's like, all right, you know, like, I was a wife of a millionaire for a day, but now let me just get back, like, pull the pants down and go to work. Literally. Wow. It's so powerful as a scene ending. Yeah. And then number 3 is this is so beautiful too. So imagine this guy has, like, closed her mouth and held her this whole time and, like, been the oppressor in her life and, like, the basically bodyguard, like, making sure she doesn't run away. But now that all this is over, she is able to gain back power. Yeah. Through what? Through sex. We've seen this. Like, that's what she knows is I have power over guys as long as I reveal my thing. So this same girl who's been, like, just being gagged and everything and hands behind her back, now she's like, all right, let me show you how much power I have. Wow. That's why I got this Russian guy to fall in love with me. So she's like, okay, let me prove it to you.
And when the guy is, like, trying to kiss her by kind of, like, pulling her when she's obviously resisting it. It's like, you're taking away my power.
Absolutely.
You're taking it just like a child, and then she breaks down.
Exactly. That's true. It's like so many power shifts within that one scene. So now we know, like, these are the reasons she did it. Yeah. And then it starts with her having power. You know, the guy is losing his mind. Like, is this happening? Like, I thought she didn't even like me. So she's over him, and it's all about her power.
Can I also say that he has no reaction to the whole thing happening?
So
like,
chill.
Are you just like the Zen thing coming back again? Man, he is such a monk. He doesn't even feel
I know,
anything.
right? Yeah.
Any
it's
desire,
so subtle.
anything like that.
Exactly. But that's what we like about him.
Yeah, yeah. God, I hope the world was filled with this kind of man.
Yeah, exactly. Like he's so casual, and he's just like, "Wow, you're doing it. Okay, I appreciate that." Like that's
Just like
so-
looking at her eyes. Well,
that was cool.
man.
Great job. And so she has power at the beginning of that scene. Like, let me now grab this and do that. And 10 seconds in, the power completely goes away. It's amazing. Like, just rewatch that scene.
Dissolves. It just like
Dissolves,
melts.
right? Yeah, because it's like first like, yeah, I'm on top of you and you love this, and then suddenly it's like, oh my god, I have to do this again, like let me get the spit, I'm just a whore. Like that's when she loses everything, her whole power. And that's the point you mentioned of like she's actually hurting herself by doing this. She realizes like, why am I sucking it, like why am I touching this guy right now when he didn't even ask for it. He's the one guy who didn't ask for it, and my whore self is on top of him right now. So she's like feeling all these guilty emotions. They show that so well in the acting. This is like 30 seconds of the movie. It's insane. So as she feels the guilt, that's when he grabs her. And he's like, as if he's like, look at me. Like, I'm here and I'm enjoying this. And you're not doing it because you're a hooker. You're doing it because you like me and I like you.
Yeah.
And so she's like, okay, let's kiss. I mean, he says that. And at first you're like, oh, is she going to go for it? Like, this is the perfect guy for you. Go, go. And as she gets closer, she realizes, what is wrong with me? I just married a guy who didn't like me. And now I'm going to kiss this guy? Like, he's just a driver. Why am I falling in love with these guys? So guard goes up immediately. Like, no way I'm going to fall again in one day. Like, this is not my life. And so he's like, fuck you. She's just beating him. Like, how dare you? And then the beautiful thing you said is like acceptance. Like, the guy doesn't even react that he's being hit. He's just like, do you want to cry on my shoulder? Like, come. I get it. I understand. And so finally, the first time in the movie, she gets to let out these emotions. Like,
oh my god.
She's been through so much, if you think about it.
Yeah.
She thought her life was turning around. She's in somebody's house. She's drugged out of her mind. And then somebody attacks her. She's in her underwear. She's being tied back. She's under so much stress. Night to day, she hasn't slept. You know, like, things have gone wrong in her life.
Yeah.
And finally,
she
got
to
feel
hit.
it.
All
I
these
know,
things.
she fought. Yeah, the woman, someone was so disrespectful to her.
Yeah.
Her coat was taken away, her scarf, like she lost everything.
And throughout this whole thing, she was so, not calm, I would say, but like she was so collected. She still was powerful. At least she showed it that way. She had the mask on throughout.
Yeah.
No like cry of help was getting out, even when she was like tied up. It was always demanding, like, get me out of this, like that.
Right.
Yeah. So you don't see that vulnerability at all during this whole thing until the last 30 seconds.
I know. And that's what makes it so powerful. Like, that's what it's exactly satisfies every need we had.
Yeah.
One big need was, are these two going to get together?
Yeah.
They're
that was
together
a big
right now.
one.
Another one is like, how is she going to react to this whole thing? And then another one is, how is it going to end for her after this?
Yeah.
And clearly, at least she has a friendship with this guy. If nothing else, like, he accepts her and she can cry with him. Like, at the minimum, she has a good friend in her life.
Yeah.
But hopefully also
It's
a relationship.
definitely a lot more for sure after that. But yes, that's such a signature
done.
like ending. Great way to end the movie. So satisfying.
Yeah. And then after it ends just black screen and the quiet car. You know, like, I've never been so satisfied walking out of a movie.
I know.
What the fuck?
I know. Usually, like, they would disappoint you, first of all, by not showing that kind of thing happening. Second of all, you root for a couple in a movie and they never happen.
Yeah.
And it happened here. Oh, God. Thank goodness. Yeah.
So cool.
And usually it's just not satisfying to anybody. Or, like, you don't get that emotional. You know, after all of this, that's the perfect way to end the movie. That's the perfect emotion. Because everybody was laughing and everything throughout. But at that moment, everybody was quiet when the movie ended.
Exactly.
It's like, whoa, the lessons are learned. Got it all. Yeah.
So cool.
So powerful. Loved it.
This movie gets the stamp of approval from the Plot Pals.
Yeah.
We loved it so much. We can't recommend it enough. Just remember that it is, you know, like an adult film. 16 is even too young.
Oh my God, yes.
You gotta be like really mature.
21
adult.
at least.
21 minimum.
Yeah. Oh my God, we're so strict. Such strict parents. Yeah, but this is such a good movie. Like, you are gonna love watching this. You're not gonna regret it, at the least.
Absolutely.
And yeah, you're gonna have fun.
43,000 people on IMDb would say the same.
Whoa.
43,000 reviews just on this IMDb website. Are you
and
kidding?
it just came out. It's not
Great
even
job.
that long.
And we'll be rooting for it at the Oscars. There isn't so many good movies. Oh my God. So yeah, we're absolutely hoping that this gets something.
That would be great, because we also have like these predictions for Oscars. Usually a video comes a little later. I don't know, maybe in February? Very
Yeah,
soon?
February. We'll
Yeah.
do more predictions.
Exactly. And so this is one of the highest betting ones that we have.
Absolutely.
Like, yeah.
Start putting your money down.
Exactly. Let's do it. Thank you so much for watching this episode.
Thank you.
Please subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. And if there are any other videos that you would like to watch, please do so. Or any movies that you'd like us to talk about. We would love that. Please comment it down
Recommend it.
below.
Thank you so much. We'll see you on the
Thank
next
you.
episode.
Bye.
Bye.